this thing on? Good? Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Joe Gibbs Racing. Since I had the mistake of starting this on Friday, I guess I'll get to finish it out today. So we've got our team owner, Joe Gibbs, crew chief on the number 19 car, James Small, and it is my honor to finally announce the full name of our driver next year, Chase Briscoe, in the 19 car.
Well done, man. All right. Well, thank you, Christopher, for that. I think, Coach, we're going to start it off with you. Your thoughts on today's announcement with Chase, Bass Pro, and the 19 team.
Well, I think we're going to start off with something kind of special. Hopefully, if our technology works, we have a special guest going to share something with us here as we start.
Are we good?
They're muted.
I just want to start off. Martin Truex can be somewhat modest sometimes. The other evening, he sent me a text. It was a picture, and he was on the back of the boat in the North Atlantic, and he says, "I'm waiting for a good tuna bite." Well, a few minutes later, I get a picture. He's wearing stand-up gear, and he's fighting this giant fish, and one of his buddies sent. And then I get this picture. And maybe you guys have seen it. If you haven't, you ought to ask Martin about it, because he catches this giant tuna. It was a big-eye tuna, but it was a giant fish, and he caught it up on stand-up tackle, which is quite a feat. And I was just thinking, if Martin's getting pretty old, but if he can still catch a fish like that, he could still win another championship. That's the main thing I was thinking about is, good luck, Martin and team, to get this championship this year. And I was just thinking about, I got to start by just saying thank you to Martin Truex Jr. Years now, I think 21, that we've been aligned through racing, and just we had a lot of unbelievable, happy, fun times. And all that time, Martin's just been a champion every way you measure it. Just how he represents our brand and gets after racing, and he's a champion on the track and just in life. And I just want to thank you, Martin. And for the last 6 or 7 years for our relationship, we've been there with Joe Gibbs Racing, and Joe, you and your team, everybody that's part of your racing family, your personal family and extended racing family, just great folks. And when Martin made his announcement, I think probably Joe started to look around a little bit ahead of time, but just recently introduced my son and I to Chase, and we had a chance to get acquainted. And you guys know Chase's record in racing as a young man. What I didn't realize is some of his, and started off, kind of remind me of a country music singer, Chris Jansen, that pursued his career, and he just lived out of his car for a year down in Nashville, following his passion. And I think back how we started Bass Pro in the back of my dad's liquor store, and America is the land of opportunity. And Chase, we're very excited. Joe picked you to be the driver of this 19 car, and we're all real proud and excited and grateful that we get to keep racing with the team there and be a part of the team. It's very inspirational. So sorry to ramble on here, but I'm just very grateful today and very excited. I say that from everybody in our company and from our customers We're excited to keep saluting the outdoors and keep having fun doing it. So you guys have a great day today, and we wish everybody the very best and pretty excited about the future here. Coach, thank you most of all. Really appreciate it. Chase, go get them. Martin, go get them. Team, go get them.
Thank you, Johnny. That was great, and we appreciate, gosh, to have a relationship like this that will continue on the 19 car with one of the most iconic companies and one of the companies in America that everybody just admires. It's a huge deal for us. And the relationship, too, the thing about Bass Pro, it is relationships. And when you get a chance to know Johnny and the team there that he has and JP and the things that Johnny, within a few minutes, just like he did right there, the things he really feels passionate about, you can tell, is with family. It always comes up. And then, of course, he cares about America. And the reason why I share a couple of these things, it'll show up on our car, which is the thrill for us. He cares about America, and then all those that have sacrificed for America. Johnny's big on veterans. We get that shows up on our race car. And then, of course, the outdoors. So for all of those reasons, I honestly think that logo that the guys are wearing and I'm wearing, I think it's one of the most iconic logos in America. People recognize it. I see teenagers lots of times running around with the hat on. And so Johnny's built, he and his family and team out there has built a fantastic company. So we're just thrilled to be a part of it and the fact that that will continue. So that's a huge deal for us. The other thing I was going to say about Martin, Johnny touched on it there. Martin will continue to be an ambassador for us for the years going forward. We're still talking about things that he might do for us. And so that's going to be exciting. If we can get him off a boat or out of a deer blind someplace, we'll have a chance. I'm still amazed. I still told him, I said, do you really think you can fish every day? So this will be interesting. I think we'll be able to get him back for a few things. So that's going to be a big deal. All right, so we got Chase, and that's exciting for us. And Marissa's here, and our star is here running around. So if he's here, we need to get him up here in a few minutes. This man's, and then we're waiting on some twins, I think, coming.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so here's the deal that I thought really kind of rang true to me on Chase. Obviously, when you're doing this is a huge deal for us. Our company, the people that work here, becomes a huge decision. We went through this for months. And we talked to, I don't know how many people, about potential people that could, come to our car. And so I think what really hit all of us, besides Chase and his background, you go back and look at Xfinity, he won 9 races that year. And you see some of the other things he's done. He's already won in Cup. But the thing when you hear him sit and talk about his background and the sacrifices that he made to race. I think that hit Johnny. Chase is a big outdoors guy. He's got a fish pond in the back of his house there, so they shared a lot of things there too. But I think his story and the way he sacrificed to do what he does was really, really impressive. I know it impressed Johnny and JP, and it did me, but also we have to win. And so we came down to the end. We think Chase can win. And so that's where we are, and it's a thrill for us to have him coming on board. And he'll be taking over the 19 car after this year. Now, the emphasis on the rest of this year for us here, honestly, we think we can win a championship with this car. I know James feels that way, and the team does. We're going to do every single thing we can to try and win a championship and let this, let Martin go out on top. And that car, nothing's much gone our way in a lot of ways, but that car is still sitting there. It's the first car in points other than the cars that have won. So we're in a good spot there. All right.
Well, Chase, how do you feel now that C-Bell has finally made it official for you? Go ahead and speak on your feelings
Loose
today.
lips.
Yeah.
I think it's the worst kept secret in the sport for a while, but Christopher, I guess, just couldn't hold it any longer. But yeah, it's super exciting for me to come over here to an organization that, I feel like just matches, my values and just the culture over here is just different than anywhere I've ever been before. And, it starts at the top with Joe and Dave and Heather and just everybody. So it's been fun just for a couple weeks now to kind of learn that side of them and get to see what makes them be as successful as they are. And that's something I'm really excited to come over here next year and try to just add to that at any capacity that I can. So obviously they have amazing race cars. They're amazing people over here. And then to do it with, like Joe was saying, just such an iconic brand with Bass Pro Shops. I'm an outdoorsman myself. I love hunting. I love fishing. Literally, me and my son fish almost every single day. So I want up for the first time. I said the most important thing for me was just trying to figure out where I can get some of those bass that are in the aquarium because the bass at my house are not near that big. So hopefully I can continue to get Johnny to maybe get me some bass. But yeah, it's just going to be an incredible opportunity for me, the opportunity of a lifetime. And like Joe was saying, just all the sacrifices that I've had to go through throughout my entire career to finally come here and hopefully be able to show what I can do. And first ballot Hall of Famer in my opinion. So, Martin, when he came over here, I think he had 2 wins before he went to Furniture Row and Joe Gibbs, and kind of the same situation I'm in right now. So hopefully I can have the same type of career as Martin, where this was kind of the skyrocket for him, and hopefully be here for a really long time.
Thank you for that. And James, obviously, as we mentioned already, the 19 team still has a lot of goals left for this season, but today, and when you have Chase behind the wheel.
Yeah, just we're all super excited on the team. Obviously, we've been a little bit in limbo every year trying to work out which way he was going to go, but now, it just allows us to build for the future. And Chase is an amazing talent. I actually didn't know him at all until last week, and spent an hour with him, and I think our goals, we obviously both have a lot to prove. So, yeah, super excited and just looking forward to next season and prove, what we can do to everybody.
Great. Well, I think we're going to take some questions from the group now. Stacy and Austin have mics. You want to start with Jordan here, Stacy? And then we'll go to Bob.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. This question's for Joe. When you knew that Martin was going to go into retirement, what was the criteria you wanted in your next driver? And how many candidates did you kind of look at before you settled on Chase?
Yeah, I think when it comes to picking talent, you come from a football background with draft and everything, so the most important you have on your team really here is always starts with character. You're always looking at what kind of a person you're getting. And the thing that's different about our sport is that these guys have to represent companies, and they represent us, and they're going to be in the public. If you kind of see the drivers, I've always really respected the drivers in NASCAR because you just don't find people getting in trouble. It's a very high standard, and so that's start with, and you're looking at, because it's so important, you just think about Bass Pro. And the fact that, Chase will be representing them. That's such a big deal for us. And so our drivers, we feel like that's the character. And then, of course, what comes with us is we have to win. There's none of our sponsors say to us, we're okay riding in the back. You got to compete. You want to win. And so then it starts into the talent. And so I think it's never easy, and it's complicated really when we pick people or pick somebody like this to take over for us on our race team. Huge deal for us, and so I think knowing Christopher was able to help me a little bit with Chase. I mean, I think he slept on Christopher's couch. He was knocking on doors for about 3 years. And when you hear his story, there's a miracle in there, really, that happened for him to get a chance for that Xfinity year. And I actually met already with that person. And he told me the story about, it was a crazy deal. He walked out of a store, and Chase's dad was there and had a 14 hat on and started a conversation. That's crazy. So I think, it's probably a good example of God putting his hand on that. But so I think it's the most important thing we do is the people who work for us, the people on our team, and certainly Chase, we felt like fit that for us.
Bob Hockers, Fox Sports. Sometimes when you bring in a new driver, you also change crew chiefs. You have James sitting there, so what made you feel like James was the right fit?
Well, it's obvious we're not changing the crew chief, so relax, James. No, our team there, what if you take a look at what we've done, just if you take a look at this year, that car has overcome all kinds of adversity. It was again last week. And to fight all the way back last week and wind up ninth is a perfect example of we kind of been doing that all year. We've been the dominant car, too, at times. And things just didn't go well at the end of the race. So we're sitting there in points. Last year we won the regular season. And so I team there. Things go our way, I think we could win the championship this year. We all feel that way. And so we're excited about that. And I know that's hugely important to all of our sponsors there, including Johnny and Bass Pro. So it's a huge deal for us. And we mentioned Interstate and the Reesers being on that car, and that's a huge deal for us. And so I think we got everything that it takes there to win a championship. So that's our goal.
We're going to come over here with Lee.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFence.com. Joe, you know about X's and O's and you know about stats, so all that on paper is all fine and dandy, but how important is it to find a guy that shares your faith?
Yeah. I think that's part. I don't think we've have ever asked somebody, what's your faith? We've never done that. We want to hire obviously we start with character and what kind of person and all that, but we don't ask. But I do think it kind of comes out, in a process of doing something like this, because it's really, we go into real depth with every part of it. And so I think we're looking for high character people, and certainly we think Chase fits that. But I think I think in our world, when you're going to go through highs and lows here like you won't believe. And so that's the thing about sports. Sports will test you. And so you try and get a feeling, how they're going to, just like Martin, the way he's fought in that car with everything that's gone against us this year. Never once. He just kept fighting. 2 weeks ago, we wound up 17th and came back from everything that could happen to a car. And again this week. So, I mean, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for people to fight. And I think their background kind of says a lot about it. And I think Chase's background shows that he'll fight.
And you can take the boy out of dirt, but you can't take the dirt out of the boy. Where are we going to stand on that? And
now, why did you have to bring that up? Okay, we're going to. No, we kind of, let me say this, because this is important, and I can tell you where we are. It's important to Christopher and all of our drivers. So what we've developed here, if somebody wants to run a race, outside of our cup stuff and everything, they just come to us. They go to the crew chief first, then they go to our competition guys, Michael, and then we all talk it over. And it has a lot to do with the car, the racetrack and whatever, and then we make a decision and go forward. And obviously in our Xfinity car, Christopher jumped in there last week. So there'll be times that they can definitely, we'll just use common sense. So that's kind of the way we've developed a little plan of going forward, because I know it's really important to them.
I'll come back over here with a couple questions. Right side, Kelly, start, and then you can hand the mic.
KellyCrandallRacer.com. Chase, can you walk us through the timeline once you knew for certain you got the confirmation from Stewart-Haas Racing that this opportunity presented itself?
Yeah, it really started, the day that Tony told us all. He kind of asked us at the end that day when he told all the drivers, do you guys have any questions? And I said, well, what does this mean about us being able to talk to other people? And he said, you guys are free to do whatever you want. So literally in the conference room, I just started texting all the team presidents I knew, and Dave was one of them, and just said, hey, Stewart-Haas let us know today that we're kind of free to do whatever we want. Would love the opportunity just to talk to you guys if there's any potential there. And I think that the SHR announcement got done Tuesday, I want to say, and Thursday or Wednesday night, David called me and said, hey, would you like to go to breakfast Thursday? And I think I was signed by Tuesday, so it was a super quick thing. It was like 4 or 5 days, but yeah, literally sitting in the conference room at SHR.
James, you had said in your comments about you and Chase both have something to prove. Can you just expand upon why you feel that way about yourself?
I think maybe a little bit, the way I got this job originally, and working with Martin, he's a legend, you know what I mean? And coming into that, and I feel like, maybe people think that, he's awesome and everything, but we really believe in ourselves as a team as well, and we know we can do it without him. And, I was just touching on that. We want to prove that we can do it by ourselves, and Chase is the absolute perfect driver to do that with.
Zach Sturniolo, NASCAR.com. Chase, you said in Iowa that one of the first things that you were asking other teams when you did sit down and talk was what their culture was and how you fit into that. How do you feel like you fit into the culture here, and what answers did you get from JGR specifically?
Yeah, I think, just how Joe is, right, as a person. It starts at the top, and just, the faith part of it was big. And just, obviously, they want to do everything they can to win, but I feel like they just do it the right way here. And, out of all the teams I met with, Joe is the only team that never said, what can you bring? they just wanted me for me. And that meant a lot to me personally. Just that they were that, felt that strongly about me in the car. And, the other teams, Joe was the one that literally called me 2-3 times a day and would reassure how bad that they wanted me in the car. And, that just made a difference for me personally, because it honestly, it helped my confidence even just in the race car, just knowing that, he believed in me that much, and, I haven't here yet. So, from that standpoint, that was really important for me. And then just the culture, like I said, just, the faith side of it, how Joe is, and, even when we've been flying all over the place, he prays before we take off, and just things like that mean a lot to me personally. So, definitely felt like from a culture standpoint, it was a great fit, and felt like just kind of what I believe in and how I tried to go about everything. It was a perfect fit.
And I know a lot's been made of your relationship with Christopher since Friday, specifically, but with as far back as you guys go, can you kind of elaborate on just how deep your guys' friendship has run?
Yeah, if it wasn't for Christopher, NASCAR period. I think Jeff Gluck did a story a couple years ago, and Christopher was obviously with Toyota, and I've known Christopher since I was probably 12 years old, I want to say. We started racing online together and just kind of formed this friendship, and then lived together for a little bit. And back in 2015, I want to say it was, he had called me and said that Roush Fenway had offered him a deal for a development driver, and he wasn't going to take it. So I got the name from him and walked in the front door at Roush Fenway and said, hey, I need to talk to this guy. Somehow got a meeting, and that was the whole meeting that really started me ever even getting an opportunity at Cunningham Motorsports. And then same thing with this. Christopher texted me probably, I don't know, I think it was the week of SHR shutting down, and said, hey, I think Martin might not be coming back. You need to just be wearing him out over there. So, without Christopher, he's been a huge part of my career.
I think we got another question here, and then we'll probably start to move towards breakouts.
John Newby, alt driver. So Chase, you replaced Clinton Boyer. Then you took over the number that Tony Stewart used. Now you're replacing a champion, a guy who's won 34 races. does that kind of help ease the pressure you're going to face, or where does that just kind of rank?
I mean, I think there's pressure to perform, coming over here in the first place. It doesn't matter who's driving it, right? If it's Martin or whoever. I mean, it's cars capable of winning. So, I think that's the one thing with this opportunity that is exciting about it too, is if I don't win, my career's over. So I got to go win and prove my worth. So yeah, I don't think it really changes who you're replacing. It's kind of ironic. I was a diehard Tony Stewart fan. I'm kind of doing the reverse Tony Stewart, going from SHR to Gibbs versus Gibbs to SHR. But yeah, I don't think it really matters who you're replacing. But it is, the car is fully capable, right? Like Martin's won championships. He's in contention to win, won the regular season last year. So yeah, I think as a driver, you feel like you can get the job done, right? And it doesn't matter who you're replacing, but it is nice to know that you're coming into a situation that's obviously proven.
If I could, Chris, one other thing I wanted to emphasize is total team around here, and a big part of our team is Toyota. And so I just want everybody to know that when we talked about making decisions like this, Toyota is a huge part of it. Tyler's here today representing Toyota, but it's Jack Hollis, it's Dave Wilson, it's the whole team over there. And so Toyota wants to win. They're very competitive, and they also care about our race team for sure. And it's just a total team effort there. And so I want to emphasize that they're a part of every decision we make. It's hugely important for us. And we've got a partnership with them now that's going on 16 years. And, one of the things about partnerships, it's when you go through things like racing, you got highs and you got lows. And with Toyota, we've been through both. And once you learn, you develop a real strong relationship. And anytime we've been in a downturn for any reason, it's never been, it's always been together. We're just going to work, and we're going to find a way to get out of this. So we appreciate Toyota so much. They have a huge influence with Johnny, too. They've done some interesting things with him. And the other thing I wanted to emphasize, Heather's here today taking on a huge role with our ownership now, and most of you are getting a chance to know her. And then, of course, Michael coming on board to help us with our competition. Dave, not help us, but direct our competition, has been a huge asset for us. As you guys know, we went through some tough losses here, and he's been a part of that. And then Eric is sitting in here today, too, that came on board through our reorganization after Coy went home. And so Dave, as you guys know, everybody's come to recognize, has been here since the very first nut and bolt was put on. And it's a thrill for us, for me, when I go through the shop. It's awesome. And so I love that. Tim is here too, has been such a supporter of all of us from a financial standpoint. He's brilliant and always keeps us in there. I have a tendency to kind of go sometimes and spend the stuff, and he's there to kind of reel us back in. And so for our whole team and everybody else at Joe Gibbs Racing, it's a total team effort here. So just appreciate it. And I want to thank all of you for being here today. It's a huge deal for us. And thank you for just being here and being a part of it.
Well, thank you, Coach, and thank everybody for attending. A couple points. Do some breakout sessions. We'll have James on this side and Chase on that side. Coach will stay in the middle. But before we do that, we're going to do some quick photos up front. But certainly reach out. Everybody that Coach just mentioned is here, is certainly happy to speak with anybody if you have questions for them. Our whole team is here that you guys are used to working with to assist you. So just let us know what you need. We'll do some photos up front, and then we'll start the breakouts. Thank you, guys.
I left out Chris.
That's fine.
Chris is a part of it.